Overcoming your fear in solving mathematics in your exams takes constant practice. And to help you with that practice, that is why we are here. I want to welcome you to this channel, Maths Fusions. It is a channel where we make maths easy for you to learn. My name is Justice Johnson from Lagos, Nigeria. Now we are going to continue with our previous, from where we stopped in our previous lesson. And in this lesson, we are still continuing with WASSCE 2020 mathematics questions and answers. And we shall be considering 4 questions, that is numbers 5 to 8. Now let us start up with the first question displayed on the screen. In number 5, it says, given that log of log x equals to 0, find the value of x. How do we approach this question? Let me give you a quick lecture on how to go about this. Okay. Now, if you come over this place here, we know that 2 power 3 will give us 8. All right. I can write this 2 power 3 in logarithm form. How? If I take log of both sides, then I can say the log 8, okay, is equals to 3. That is, if we take this 2, which is the base, and put it here, it means that log 8 base 2 is equals to what? Equals to 3. Now, I can still write this logarithm equation into integral equation, okay? And how do I do that? Just simply take your 2, bring it here, and send the power to where it belongs, and that is what, you're going to have this. So, with that little understanding, let us apply it here. Now, the case of this logarithm we are seeing here is a logarithm where the base is 10. So, as we are looking at this bottom part here, there is an invisible 10. The reason why it is not written out is because it is a common base. So, bear that in mind, that we have log base 10 here, and we also have log base 10 of x here, okay, and everything is equals to what? 0. So, how do we do this? For us, for the first thing we are going to do, we take this base and send it back to where it belongs. So, in doing so, this log will disappear. The base 10 will come to this side to become 10 power what? 0. While on the left side, we'll be left with what? Log x base 10. And that will give us 10 power 0. Now, from your indices, you are already aware that 10 power 0 is equals to 1. So, which means this expression here, log x base 10, must equals to what? Equals to 1. All right. So now what do? We're still applying the same concept here. So we take this 10, which is the base, and bring it here because this 1 is the power of the base. So we send it to this place to write it in integral form. So here will become x to equals 10 power what? 1. And here is the answer to this question. So this question that is given to us to solve to find the value of x, you can say that x is equals to 10 power 1. Now let us take the next question. In the next question here, we are dealing with set, all right? And here it says, using the Venn diagram, find x union z prime, that is a complement of x union z, then intersection what? Y. So how do we solve this problem? First, look at the first diagram and the Venn diagram. We're having 3 sets, x, y, z. Then the universal set that contains the 3 sets, all right? Each of these sets has their elements in them. So the very first thing we do in taking the solution is to come over here and write out the elements of each of the sets. Let's start with what? Our set x. For our set x, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Write out the elements there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that is for the elements of in set x. Now for the elements in set y, if you check out elements in y, if you check out the element in y, this circle you see here, the elements you are seeing inside are 2, 4, 7, 8. So write it out. 2, 4, 7, and what? And 8. Okay, those are the elements you see in set z, y. Now let us write out the elements in z. Okay. Now the element in set z, as you can see, if you follow the circle here, okay, you can see that we're having 4, 6, 7, 9. So write out 4, 6, 7, and what? And 9. Now the last set we are going to write out is the universal set. The universal set contains all the elements you are seeing here, including the ones that are outside here. So how do you write the universal set? You can write it as this, then you put your curly bracket, then you write out all the elements you see there, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to what? Up to 11. So we have 1, 2, 3, your counting numbers up to 11. Now, since we have identified the elements, the next thing we are going to do here is to come here to get our X union Z. That's the first thing we are going to do. So we can come here to say, therefore, our X union Z will give us, for the X union Z, we are to combine the elements of X and Z. That's what we have to do, to combine the elements of X and Z. So in combining the element of X and Z, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. As you can see here, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. These are all the elements in elements of what? X union Z. So, but we are not looking for X union Z. We need it to calculate the complement of X union Z. The complement of X union Z means that the elements that are not found in X union Z. So, which means we can come here to say our X union Z complement will become, now the complement of X union Z are those elements not found in X union Z but are found in universal set. So you can see now, universal set we have 8. Here we have 8. And here we don't have 8, then we have 10 and 11. So we come here, we write our 8, 10, and what? And 11. These are the elements not in the union of X and Z. Then finally, we can now come here to say, therefore, we can now get this value, the last value here. We can say that X union Z prime, then intersection Y. What does this mean? It means that the elements that are found in X union Z complement, okay, then intersection Y. Intersection Y means the common elements between this and this, okay. So we can write out this first element here. We have 8, 10, and what? And 11. Then intersection what? Our Y. What is our value for Y? Based on what to write here, we have 2, 4, 7, and 8. Write it out. 2, 4, 7, and what? 8. So the intersection means the common element for these two sets. And as you can see, we are having 8 as a common element. So which brings us to the final answer as what? 8. So 8 is the final answer. I believe you are understanding everything that is taught here in this lesson. Now let us quickly take question 7. Now question 7 is taken from your AP and GP, okay? That is a topic in mathematics called series, okay? Now here we are dealing with GP. It says find the sum of the first 6 terms of the geometric progression F 1, 2, and 4. Now the very first thing we are going to do here, first of all, is to write out the terms that are here, okay? This first number you see here is known as the first term. I'll write it as A to equals to what? F. Alright. Now, the next thing we are going to do to get the sum of the first 6 terms, that means your number of terms we are dealing with is what? 6. And we are therefore looking for the sum of the first 6 terms. So write it as S sub 6 equals to what? Question mark. That's what we are looking for. Okay. Now, the next, for us to get this value, we need the common ratio. And to get the common ratio, it is the third term to the second term, or the second term to the first term. All right. So to make it easy, let's just take the third term to the what? With the ratio of the first term, and second term, third term to the second term. Pardon me for that. Okay. So we have 2 upon 1, and that will give us what? 2. So the common ratio in this case is what? Is 2. If you take the fourth term to the third term, it will still give us 2. All right. So now that we've gotten the parameters here, we can now come up to use the formula for sum of a GP. So we can say using what? Using S sub n equals to A into bracket r root power n minus 1 then divide by what? R minus 1. The reason why we are using this is because the common ratio is higher than 1. Okay, the common ratio is greater than 1, and that's the reason why we are using this particular formula. So now we can come to this place now to substitute the values we've gotten so far. We say S sub 6 to equals our A. A is half, then into bracket, our R is 2, based on what we have here, R equals to 2, then power 6 minus what? Minus 1, then all divided by 2 minus 1. So here we're going to have half into bracket what? With 2 power 6 is what? Is, if you want to get to 2 power 6, you come to this way, you say 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2, which is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. Then 32 times 2 is what? 64. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that means 2 power 6 is what? Equals to what? 64. So over here we'll write our 64 minus 1, then all divided by what? By 1. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is to say half multiplied by 64 minus 1 is what? 63. And then our answer could become 63 upon 2. Now, if you don't want to leave the answer this way, we can still break this down to improper fraction by saying 2 divide this to give us 3. Then 2 into 3 is 1, which is 2 remainder what? 1 upon 2. So your answer here, finally, for your sum of the first 6 terms of the GP is 31 and half. I believe this question and the way the solution is given is quite easy for you to understand. Now let's quickly take the final question for today. Now the final question for today will be taken from SOD, all right? And in the SOD, we're asked to simplify 2 root 3 into 3 root 2 minus 2, all right? Then all by root 2. So here's the question again. We have 2 root 3 multiplying into 3 root 2 minus 2, then divide this result by root 2. Now, there are many approaches I can take here. I can decide to distribute this into the bracket, or I can choose to, first of all, rationalize the denominator. To rationalize the denominator means to make this irrational SOD to become a rational number. So how do we do that? Here is how we do it. We put our equals to sign here, and now we say 2 root 3 into 3 root 2 minus 2, then all upon root 2. Then we can now say times, multiply numerator and denominator by the SOD root 2. Okay. Now in doing this root 2 will times root 6 and root 3. Root 2 times root 3 will give us root 6. So we are having 2 root 6. Then open brackets 3 root 2 minus 2. In case you are wondering what I did there, here's what I did. Okay. This is our root 2. We use it to multiply 2 root 3. And in doing so, we are going to multiply these roots and root 3 to give us 2 root 6. So that's the 2 root 6 you see here. Okay. Then the denominator will become root 2 times root 2. And that will give us what? 2. When you multiply the same SOD, it gives us that the number under the root sign. Okay. So now we've done this. You can see here that my 2 here can cancel these 2, leaving me with what? Root 6 into bracket 3 root 2 minus 2. Now I can distribute this into the bracket. Now in doing this, root 6 times 3 root 2. All we are going to do here is to multiply the SOD. Then this 3 will multiply, there's an invisible 1 here, so 3 times 1 will give us 3. Then root 6 times root 2 will give us root 12. Then this will become minus. If we multiply this, you are going to have 2 root 6. Please do not make the mistake of using this 2 to times the 6 under the root sign, because they are not the same numbers, okay? This one is a whole number, it's a rational number, while this one is an irrational number. So instead, you will use this 2 to multiply the coefficient of root 6, which is 1. And that will give us what? 2 root 6. Now, do not leave your final answer this way. You need to simplify it. And how do you simplify it? Here is how you simplify it. In this, your root 12, okay? You are going to write it out as product of a perfect square and a prime number, okay? And we can easily break this root 12 as 4 times what? 3. Then the other numbers still remain constant, which is 2 root what? Root 6. In doing this now, it becomes 3 times 2, because root 4 will give us 2, then times, this is root 3, root 3 remains root 3, then we have minus 2 root 6. So we can still go on ahead, multiply this, we have 6 what, root 3, then minus this will give us 2 root 6. So you can still leave your answer this way. There are other ways you can still do this. And what are the ways? You can still write this as 6 root 3 minus 2 root 2 times root 3. And then you factorize. What are you factorizing out? We bring out your common factor between 6 and 2, and that will give us 2. Then you can see that root 3 is common. We can still write it as root 3. Then into brackets, here we're going to have 3. Because if you divide 6 by this, it will give us this. Divide this by this, you have just 1, okay? So we have 3. Then minus what? We have brought out 2 root 3, which is this. So we'll be left with what? Root 2. So here you have it. This is going to be the final answer to this question. As I said before, having confidence to solve your maths in your examination takes constant practice, and that is why we are here to help you. So please make sure you go through these videos again and check out our other videos on WASSCE 2020 mathematics questions and answers, and you can also view our other videos in this channel, and by so doing you will build up your confidence that will enable you to solve problems on your own.